there's really three nodes of interest to make this compelling. The first node is that Bitcoin node that keeps track of that ledger. It's the most secure database in the world, and it's a database of immutable truth. It's the ledger of money. The second node is a miner. It's SHA-256, or it's an encrypting miner that's generating hash functions to protect the network, and there are millions of them. And they're all competing with each other to build the next block. There's only 1 out of 2 million involved in this network. It's like every miner gives you a lottery ticket, and 1 of the 2 million will get to build the next block and will get paid a lot of money, like $300,000, and you don't know which one. So the miners are a wall of encrypted energy. They're converting electricity into hashes, and then inside that wall of electricity, or wall of energy, is the Bitcoin ledger, which is distributed in a decentralized fashion. And there's one other interesting node called a Lightning node. This is a layer 2 decentralized system. This is decentralized payments. It'll move small amounts of Bitcoin at the speed of light programmatically, almost for free. So Bitcoin is a decentralized piece of software. The brilliance of it is it's a bank in cyberspace that nobody controls. Nobody can corrupt. It's a bank run by incorruptible software, offering a global, affordable, simple, secure savings account for everybody on Earth that has neither the means nor the inclination to run their own hedge fund. You have some money, you have life savings, you simply don't want to lose it. You want to put it in a bank. So Bitcoin is that bank in cyberspace. These engineers came up with this idea.
Who are the engineers?
Well, we don't know. We know some of them. They're the cypherpunks. They were into cryptography. The most important of them was Satoshi, who we don't know who it was. Satoshi wrote the white paper, created the first version of Bitcoin, gave it to the rest. And initially, there wasn't any money in the network. They just ran it for a year as a hobby, right? And then over time, there was a famous transaction where somebody bought a pizza, right, for like 10,000 Bitcoin, one pizza. And that was the first transaction. And then the network gradually began to monetize as people bought into the network. And so it's like a fire in cyberspace.
Should we be nervous that we don't know the identity of the founder?
No, I don't think we should be nervous. We should be joyful, because for Bitcoin to work, it needs to be money of the people. It needs to be not controlled by any individual. It needs to be not under the thumb of a founder or a corporation or one strong holder. The most important thing Satoshi did was he created this gift. He gave it to the world. I assume a he. Some people think she. Some people think it's multiple people. But Satoshi gave this gift to the world and disappeared. And Satoshi mined about 1 million coins getting it started, but those coins never moved. Never. They've never been moved. Satoshi's never appeared again. And then the network was in essence a community development all around the world for the next decade, and it's simply grown from $1 million in the bank to 10 million to 100 million to 1 billion to 10 billion to 100 billion. In March of our second quarter of 2020, it was about $180 billion in this network, and that's where I got involved. I was late, but when I got involved, what I saw was an engineered monetary asset, a digital gold, if you will, sitting on an open big tech monetary network. And I said, this is an economic imperative because this solves the problem of inflation for a corporation with lots of cash. I had a lot of cash, and I thought I was going to lose all of it if I didn't invest it in something. And I said, it is also a moral imperative. This is a technology to give property rights to 8 billion people on the planet that don't have property rights. Right? Bitcoin is the highest form of property the human race has ever invented. And I'll explain why in a second. There's 2 billion people that don't have a bank, right? You can give everybody on the planet a bank and property rights that cannot be corrupted and cannot be inflated and confiscated. You can give it to them for the price of a free download on Android. If you got a $50 phone and you can download some software, you can have your own bank, your own property rights, your own economic freedom and economic empowerment. So it's a moral imperative. And then finally, it's a technical imperative. You're talking about the digital transformation of everything else. The digital transformation of property, of gold, of banks, the digital transformation of war, the digital transformation of government, of security. It's a deep idea, but in essence, if the economy's got $500 trillion worth of property and corporations and stuff in it, well, digital property as capital, as money, is worth that amount. It's worth half of everything, right? And so we never figured out how to digitally transform money or digitally transform capital. We did digitally transform photos and videos and education and books and relationships and communications.
Right.
And you know, the secret to success of Google and Amazon and Apple and Facebook is the digital transformation of entertainment and education and communications. But think about what it means to digitally transform $10 trillion of gold or $100 trillion of property or $100 trillion of currency. So these engineers, they wanted to solve that problem. And of course, there's so many big ideas. One is, it was engineered to be a digital gold with none of gold's defects. 21 million coins, but you can't make any more. The problem with gold is gold miners inflate the gold supply, right, and gold bankers inflate the gold paper supply. They dump gold derivatives on the market. With every other asset on Earth, anything else you can own, houses, gold, silver, commodities, stocks, bonds, when the price goes up, the supply increases. If I increase the price of any stock by a factor of 10, the company issues more stock.
Of course.
If I buy all the bonds, all the municipal bonds, the price of bonds go up, people issue more bonds, right? If I drive up the price of gold by a factor of 10, people print more gold or mine more gold. Bitcoin's the only thing in the world that's inelastic to price. If the price of Bitcoin triples, you can't make any more. If the price goes up by a factor of a million, you can't make any more. Now, so Tucker, let me just give you one more engineering insight. In engineering, there's something called conservation of energy.
Yes. And
the whole point of conservation of energy is energy can either be made or destroyed. There has to be conservation of it. The mathematical metaphor, the mathematical analogy to that is proper math. 10 plus 10 equals 20. 2 plus 2 equals 4. If 10 plus 10 ever starts equaling 18, you got a problem.
Yeah.
If you have a bathtub and there's a leak, if you have a swimming pool with a leak, if I have an electric system with a short circuit, if I have a leak in my engineering system, nothing works. Nothing in the world of ocean engineering, aeronautical engineering, electrical engineering, nothing works lest you respect conservation of energy. The problem with inflation is inflation does not respect conservation of energy. I've got a leak in the system. I've designed a currency which is not conservative. So properly understood, if you said, I want a conservative money supply, a conservative money supply would be there's $10 billion in the economy and nobody prints anymore.
Right.
And that's the Austrian economic sound money principle. Bitcoin is a conservative monetary system. It's the first system that respects the laws of thermodynamics and the laws of physics and the laws of math, which means it is true and pure, right? It has integrity. If you have integrity, if you have something which is true and pure and you have durability, then you can build a family around it, a life around it, a company around it, or civilization around it.